Why is it that hotels lag behind in technology? And what is it that we can do about it?
Really great question. And one of my favorite questions, in fact. And I agree with you that in the industry, we always talk about it. We're like, okay, why are we in the Stone Age? Why are we second to last after hunting, as Max Starkov mentioned, in terms of digitization of the industries, right? Other different sectors are other different industries. What is it about our specific industry that is so different that just prevents us from scaling and from scaling this technology solution and from adopting them in, I guess, more optimal manner? And when I was writing my book, I did a thorough research and I spoke to a lot of industry leaders and analyzed the market. One of the reasons that is mentioned in the book is like the natural curve of technology adoption, that people in general are just not really, they're not rushing to adopt new technology. But even though I do use this as one of the reasons in my book, I don't think that's really one of the main reasons in our industry, because we see technology and AI and ML everywhere in our lives. We as humans have been able to adopt crazy things like almost self-driving cars. Like I literally, when I drive, I just do this. I'm like on Facebook all the time. My car drives for me. And as humans, we're actually pretty flexible in terms of technology adoption in our daily lives. So I don't really buy it as the main reason for preventing tech adoption in our industry. I personally believe that the main reason is because our industry is very specific when it comes to the composition of the industry and how it's structured. And it's just very fragmented. And as you also mentioned during our previous conversation, when you hear that, oh, we're just like the airline industry, it's our sister industry, it's in the travel space, why can't we be like them? Why are they ahead of us in many ways when it comes to revenue management, yield management, and tech adoption, and booking engine, and AI implementations, and whatnot? Well, we're not. We're very different. And how we're different is that because of what we call, and not a lot of people actually realize that, but this three-legged stool situation that is one of the aspects of this fragmentation is something that makes this the composition of the industry very complex and very controversial, I would say. So the fact that we have these three stakeholders in pretty much any decision-making process when it comes to tech adoption, we have the owner, we have the management company, and we have the brand. And again, they're independent properties, so brands are not always involved. Hotel management companies are not always involved, but in many cases, there are these three stakeholders that have very different interests. And as a tech vendor, as an investor, as an executive of a technology company, you don't really realize that when you get into our space. As we also know, which is, I've actually added this in my head as one of additional factors for low technology adoption, which is not in the book, but I'm going to describe that here during this podcast. The 99% of these tech vendors, the founders and executives and even employees in those companies, are not from the industry originally. So when they invest, when they start these companies, when they build their products, they have no idea what they're dealing with. And I was in those shoes when I co-founded my RMS company when it was 12 years ago. We were the first RMS system that had machine learning built in, and the first system that was targeting mid-scale and limited service properties that was fully automated and had very seamless interface and very user-friendly interface. So I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I didn't understand all those things, the integration dependencies and all these decision-making stakeholders that were participating in this process. I had to educate myself. So the problem is that majority of these vendors, they don't understand it. And it's a big problem. And I think that's why we need to we need to publish more of these educational podcasts and content online to explain how our industry is structured and how to deal with that. Not saying that, okay, this is it and it's just there's no way around it and it's just not going to evolve from now on because we have the situation, but there are ways to work with these different stakeholders and adapt your product offering and your go-to-market strategy accordingly. and you will be just more optimal if you understand the situation. And I'm actually working on building an online course that will be targeted specifically to technology vendors to explain them what the industry is about and how to build and bring the products to market to make sure that they're targeted towards the end user, and then the companies understand who the end users are, who the personas are, and how to build their go-to-market market strategy. And that will essentially also help technology adoption, because the end user will be able to relate to these products better and will be able to just adopt them easier, because they will be specifically carved towards their needs, as opposed to what we're seeing right now when a real estate person or finance person comes in and they build something that is absolutely unusable, and they don't understand why this product is not scaling. So I would say that was probably the main reason why our industry is very, very behind when it comes to technology adoption, especially technology like AI, machine learning, and blockchain and whatnot. So those kind of upper levels of tech evolution. And another reason is just that the industry in general is very conservative. It's one of the oldest industries. So along with education, healthcare, we are people that have traditionally been embracing, again, I keep using that term, we've been embracing high touch. And we just think that if we use high tech, we can't be high touch, which is, I think that's definitely a misconception, because high tech can make you be much more efficient and provide better high touch service and improve customer satisfaction, customer retention, and help with customer acquisitions, not just be more profitable or efficient, but actually target customer satisfaction and positively improve it. So technology can just do so much for us. We don't have to be afraid of it. And with COVID, we've definitely seen increased adoption rates, but there is just so much more that we as an industry can do in terms of making our tools better, technology tools, and then also from the customer, from the user standpoint, adopting those tools and understanding the use cases and ROI that is associated with it.
Yeah, that's great. Really a good point you made there, Ira. I think that as an industry, there's still the perception that high tech and high touch cannot actually, work together. And I'm totally with you. And I think the labor shortage that we're now seeing, along obviously with the pandemic, is forcing us to look at that. And I feel that we can use technology to literally streamline the operation, to allow the existing team members to actually offer an even higher touch, environment or experience to the guests. So I don't think we should be afraid of technology. It doesn't replace people. It actually allows us as an industry, I think, to enhance our high touch experience.
Totally.